Frontiers is a 2007 new French extremity film directed by Xavier Gens. For the uninitiated, new French extremity are films that depict visceral horror and extreme violence. This film movement was active in the 2000s through the 2010s. Frontiers came out at the height of the movement's popularity. The film follows a group of French Arab youths that are fleeing a riotous Paris following the election of a far-right government, only to be pursued by a murderous family of white supremacists. I've seen Frontiers 3 times at this point, and I'm still unsure as to how I feel about this movie. I like quite a few things about Frontiers, but I also have quite a few issues with the film as well. As far as what I liked, the kills, gore, practical effects, and makeup effects are all really well done. Anything having to do with ankles and feet just immediately make me cringe. This also has one of my favorite head explosions and one of the most gnarliest saw blade kills I've ever seen on film. There's no shortage of blood, guts, and gore when it comes to Frontiers. I also felt there was some inspired cinematography. It's nothing mind-blowing, but these are scenes that help to add to the tension. And it was a nice reprieve from the shaky cam that was throughout the film for the most part. Which leads me to one of my biggest cons. The shaky cam in this film makes some of these scenes nearly unwatchable. And when the scenes that are supposed to be the most suspenseful are full of the shaky cam, I'm totally taken out of the moment because it's too shaky. I also felt the story and the overall pacing of the film wasn't so great. I'm totally fine with the fact that it's essentially a knockoff of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Don't get me wrong, the last 20 to 30 minutes of this film totally rock, but getting there feels very uneven. We're supposed to be building this emotional connection with some of these characters, but it all felt flat for me. I felt the film was starting to get into parody territory when we have this white supremacist family who also happen to be cannibals. Now, I'm not saying you can't have that in a story, but in Frontiers, it feels all tacked on. I thought the performances were decent, but nothing that was really extraordinary. Just like with the story, the dialogue and the writing is okay. I really had to focus because this film really didn't keep my attention, and a lot of that happened earlier on in the film when the group is leaving Paris and going to the countryside. So much of that setup isn't really that well written, but once we actually get to the countryside and get into the action, that's when the film starts to pick up and becomes better, which goes back to how I don't really know how I feel about this film. It's not bad, but it's not good, it's just okay, which is why Frontiers gets a weekend rental. I feel like Frontiers is a good entry-level new French extremity film. It's not the best that this film movement has to offer, but it's almost mainstream enough to where you can get an idea of what the new French extremity movement has to offer. Have you seen Frontiers? If so, let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I have new horror videos coming out twice a week. And if you'd like to support the channel even more, get your name in the opening credits, or even request a horror movie for me to review, or even a full horror franchise, become a Patreon today. Link is down in the description below. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you guys on the next video.